Hello YouTube, this is Charlie426. It has been a long time since I made a video, so once again I apologize. All I can say is that I have been absent because of work. They made me work on the holidays, they even made me work on the weekends, and yeah, and I apologize for that. But once again, we are back and I have a ton of stuff to review. We have this, I have something from Digimon, I have something from Zoids, aka Takara Tomy, and more stuff to review is on their way. So once again, hopefully starting next week, other than Monday, I can have a long-term break so I can make more reviews. Anyway, so this is the review of a Baymax model kit. Yes, you heard me, a Baymax model kit. Apparently, for those who don't know what Baymax is supposed to be like a medical robot from the movie called Big Hero 6. This is his armored up version for the final battle in the movie series as well. So once again, why this caught my attention is that number one, I actually did enjoy the movie up until it became a little bit, a bit more kiddish and to the hero point. But still, I actually liked Baymax's character, and I really liked this design as a kid. And I always wanted a toy, but the toys at the time were not that great. They were like very subpar. They were just rush made to make it look like Baymax, and then just call it a day. But finally, and once again, this was totally unexpected. I never imagined to the point where we would see a Baymax model kit. And another point is that this is actually made by Pop Mart. Yes, that Pop Mart that is currently making the whole Labubu thing craze, or whatever it's called. What's it called? So yeah, of course there's this other company called Gong. I'm not sure that is actually a company or like a team or a sub-company within Pop Mart. But once again, I'm assuming like Pop Mart is the main, company, and this is maybe the team or a new brand or something like that. So once again, this is my first time seeing a model kit from Pop Mart. So for those who are more knowledgeable regarding this company, do let me know if they have more, model kits like this as well. Now the box is huge, like very effing big. Like here's a standard HG kit. It's a huge box. Like I think it's even bigger than the standard Master Grade, the old style Master Grade box, and even fatter as well. So yeah, it's a big box, but the kit, it's right there. It may look small, but it's just because of the box and the kit itself. There's a lot of parts. If you know how Baymax actually looks like, you would think it would be a very simple kit, but no. And they took this like a whole new level, and you can definitely tell that the designers and engineers really cared for this product as well. Alright, so let's just put the box to the side for now. So here we have the model kit of Baymax. Definitely, obviously, it's armored up. No, there is no form, or you cannot take off the armor to make it to the white marshmallow look as well. That would be much more even difficult in terms of the engineering standpoint. But once again, here we have that. Here we have the instruction manual, which is a pretty long manual when you think about it. But once again, it's a pretty cool, nice, well-made manual as well. And here are all the stuff that you should be getting as well. So first of all, let's go over some leftover parts. So we have these leftover parts here, and as far as I can tell, these are just literally leftover parts. These parts are like that goes onto the joints or onto the back, like to cover up certain holes and pegs going on here. And yeah, as far as I can tell, I couldn't find any more, so I'm just gonna call these leftover pieces. Here we have, technically, I guess it would not exactly leftover pieces, but for a reference, these are the nanobots from the movie that was made by Hero, yeah, the main character. Yeah, this is when it's in its robot form without the face. But once again, they give you a pretty nice reference. But yeah, for those who really like these kind of stuff, go nuts. And here we have a sticker sheet. Now, at first I thought this was supposed to be like some kind of promo item, or like, oh cool, they added a piece of paper of Baymax's face. But no, this was actually a sticker sheet. But when you look at it closely, it's only the eyes. So you only need to peel off the black part of the eyes, only the dots, not the line. But the good part is that on the model kit, the head, the eyes are separate pieces. So all you need to do is technically just cut, you just need to cut but you can just color the parts separately as well, and then color it pretty easily. But if you're having trouble, you can do that. But for the tricky part is the middle side of the line, because as you can see, I kind of messed that part up. So I did clean it up, but I forgot to reapply it. And the tricky part is because of the visor. I need to take off that visor to do that. So I might actually do that before continuing. But yeah, this is the only sticker you need, and it's a very simple sticker, and you can just color it on your own. Alright, so, and here we have the other stuff or equipment. So, we get the wings for left and right. So, these are technically parts formers, so you need to take off a certain part and then replace it with these. No big deal. We've seen these before in other kits. Now, for those who remembered in the movie, Baymax's like main method of attack is like the rocket punches. So they give you all the parts necessary for the rocket punches. So of course you do need to take off the arm parts and then replace it with this, and then also with this. So in this one you just need to plug in the fist and you're good to go. This is right before he fires from his arm, so you need to attach this to the arm again. And once again, if you want to be even more, how should I say, like tricky, they even allow you to plug this part in, the booster effect part, into here, to as if it's like being fired at the same time, like so as if he's ready to fire right away. So yeah, that's a pretty cool detail if you ask me. And then we have all these parts that they look like flame effect parts, so really well done. And then finally, obviously this guy can fly, so you get the booster effect parts for the feet as well. Of course you do, it's not like you can just slap these on, you have to actually replace the parts. Alright, so we've seen the basics of the components. There's a lot of stuff on this desk, so I'll be right back after cleaning up, and then we'll look into the kit itself in detail. Okay, I'm back, so I have everything cleaned up. Now we can look at the model kit itself in more detail. So once again, there's one thing I forgot to mention, is that this action base that you see right here, it actually comes included. Once again, you need to build it, requires some screws. But once again, it's not your typical or traditional, Bandai style, butt plug, action base. They actually give you like some kind of a chair like thing, so that Baymax can stand on its own and make it look less awkward going on here as well. Now once again, the kit itself can stand on its own, but for those who know how Baymax looks like, and especially the way how his feet are in this form, his feet are kind of, they are flat, but compared to his entire mass and body, the surface area is a little bit on the small or low side. So once again, making him balance in various poses is going to get a little bit tricky, so just be aware of that. But for the sake of the review, I will try to make him stand on its own like this. Alright, so right off the bat, let's give out the size comparison with a typical Bandai's 1:144 scale HG kits as well. You can see it's definitely taller than a typical 1:144 scale HG kit. So once again, but I think this would be still either, depending on the mobile suit, it would be either similar or smaller than a Master Grade 1:100 scale kit. So just be aware of that aspect as well. Now, in terms of build level, the build level is that I would say it's a little bit, there's more parts than a typical high grade kit, but not as crazy as a modern Master Grade kit. So I would say it's more like of the old school Master Grade kits as well, where there is a frame, but not like the detail frame, but the basic looking frames that fills in the kit. Let's just put it that way. So once again, now Baymax always had that empty hollow feelness, but in terms of the kit, this thing is actually pretty hefty. So it does have a little bit of weight when you you build it. Alright, so now let's get into the articulation going on here. Now you would think because it's Baymax, his articulation would be kind of limited, but no, I think they really consider a few aspects going on here as well. So let's see, let's start with the head. And like I mentioned, I was able to take off the visor. Apparently I was trying to take off the visor the wrong way, which almost broke something, but once again, we're all good, and I applied the middle line there. So, regarding the manual, they only mentioned you to take off the black eye stickers from the sticker sheet and apply there, which are technically clear pieces for the eyes. They do not tell you anything regarding the middle line there, which is why I also, kind of forgot to do about that. So, the middle line, you need to color that yourself, which is just, just do a panel lining and you're good to go. Alright, so now the head. Overall, what I like is that the head is covered up. No, there's no white, there's not an actual full-fledged white head inside there, so just keep that in mind. So while you're building, you apply the stickers or color it, and then you put a top visor on it so that you can actually protect all the stickers or your coloring as well. So that's really very good. Now, going 360 is possible because of the joint inside there, and then looking upwards is pretty well done because in Baymax in his flight mode he would usually go like this or something like that, so which is why they did consider to make him being able to look upwards. Now downwards not so much because he has a big chest and a big belly, so yeah, even though he looks down, he's not going to be able to look that much when you think about it. But once again, pretty well done as well. Now let's get the main body. The main body, once again, I do like certain, like the way how they engineered stuff. So first of all, he doesn't have exactly an ab crunch towards the front, but you can go backwards like that, which reveals his belly a little bit more. But once again, you get the point. So he does have an ab crunch, but it mostly applies going upwards rather than going forward. So yeah. What I like about the build regarding this, usually in terms of gunpla kits or most model kits, is that when you're connecting the top body and the lower body or the waist, it would be just a single peg there. But in this case, they have a lock mechanism, so they would tell you to plug it in 180 degrees around first, and then you plug it in, and then you twist it 180 degrees again to lock it in place. So there are a lot of parts, especially in the body, that are like that. So you can't, so to make sure that even though you pull a bit, it doesn't fall out. So there are, because some model kits do suffer from that, where you keep fiddling with the body, it'll just pop out. I think they didn't want to have that issue, hence making the engineering like that. So very, very well done. Now side to side movement, so you do have the front, roughly the top body can move side to side a bit, but not 360. But once again, considering how this guy looks like and considering how his inner, marshmallow body is, I guess that technically should make sense. Now for the big arms and shoulders. So the shoulders, let me just flap this open. You can see inside here is actually a ball joint. And then, so the shoulder armor is not connected to the arm itself, it's more connected to the main body. So kind of like an SHF Figure Arts style shoulder connection going on here as well. Of course, there are some pros and cons to this, but once again, because this thing is on a ball joint, you have a lot of free range of movement. And once again, all these purple parts are all color separate parts. Other than the eyes, there were no stickers here, so everything you see are part separated. So the arm is just on a huge gigantic single peg, so technically speaking 360 on this thing should be possible, but yeah, there we go. 360 is possible, it's just getting the right angle. It's just very tricky because of the shoulder part. Yeah, because if the shoulder is not connected to the main arm, that rotating the arm 360 becomes a little bit tricky because of this part. Alright, and then 360 here on the arm itself is possible, and then you do get a nice 90-degree bend. Now considering how buff his armor is, I guess 90-degree bends is all he can do, technically speaking. And then there is another rotating point here, but once again, this is mostly for detaching the arm for these type of parts. So you have a gigantic peg going on here, you just slap it in then and you're good to go. And since we're on the hand, let's give it a look. So here is the fist. Now the way how the hand is connected to this part is technically it's a plastic ball joint, but I am not a big fan of this joint here because this is just connected by a peg. So when you're pulling out the hand, do be slightly careful, or because you do not want to snap anything off. So yeah. And then so you can see you can extend the hand a little bit, so it's because of the joint. And then each finger or finger is articulated here going on here. So the main connection for the fingers are a ball joint, but each finger has a bending point like that. This hand does look a little bit familiar from a different kit or product. I just can't really remember what it is, but some can move on its own. The fingers can move on its own as well. So you can do a very natural fist pose, or you can do the Baymax signature, like, hey, I'm Baymax, with the waving his hand, or the blah thing that he does with Hero. But once again, pretty cool design, and once again, all color separated or part separated parts as well. Very, very well done. All right, now let's get the back really quick. So here we have seen those cover-up parts. There are 4 here, and you can see there's these lumps going on here. This is the part that we need to pull off and then replace it with the wings, which we will be doing later. Nothing too special on the back here. I'm really glad they didn't add a Hero part here because I never really liked the idea where Hero would slap himself onto the back of it. Just looks a little bit too dangerous for my taste. But once again, I'm really glad they just focused on Baymax. Alright, so let's see. Okay, so regarding the arm, we saw the articulation here. Going to the side, you can technically go a little bit higher than 90 degrees as well. That's as far as it can go. And the shoulders, you can see there is some extension going on here. So you do have a butterfly joint, so you do have a little bit more free range of movement on the arms. Now, the lower body, like I said, because of the overall engineering structure, rotating is not a really good idea as well. So you do have a little bit of wiggle going on here, but that's as far as you can go. And then I believe, yeah. Okay, so going forward, but now depending on how you push it, now there is a little bit of wiggle here, but once again, it's barely a wiggle, so not really an ab crunch here section here as well. So now let's get the legs here. Once again, very buff body, a little bit long and buff legs. It's buff but short legs. All right, so now we have a side swivel going on here. That's very good. Going to the side is possible, despite how those legs look like. You can see there are multiple joints going on here that allows that. And then, okay, let's see, yeah. Make sure you're rotating in the right direction, because most of these parts are plastic joints. Most of them are plastic joints, if I remember correctly. So going to the front 90 degrees is not possible because of the overall, thickness of the legs and the waist area. And even if I did so, you can see it's not exactly a straight line. It's like going a little bit to the diagonal way. So you can see you can go forward like that, and then backwards not so much because there's more coverage here. And then for the leg, believe it or not, it does have a bend, roughly a 90-degree bend. And then we have the feet here, very small feet that can go forward and backwards, and that which is pretty much it. Now there's not much wiggle room for a pivot joint, but once again, because of the legs are all there's a good range of movement going on here. I don't think it's going to be too necessary as well. So, and you do have sorry about that. There we go. So yeah, so any pose, you just need to rotate this so that you get the right angle going on here. So yeah. All right, so we've seen the basics of the kit. Once again, it's a very huge and beefy kit, but it has all the necessary articulations for any basic movement going on here as well. Now, the only thing left to show are the demonstrations of the equipment, so I'll be right back with the first demonstration. Okay, I'm back. So here we have the first demonstration here. So now in the movie, when they first geared up with Baymax, he demonstrates his rocket punches or rocket fist for the first time. And yeah, so you can actually, do that pose as well. So all you need to do is replace the regular arm with the booster, effect parts arm, and then slap on the hand again, and you're good to go. Now you may notice that there's going to be, depending on what part you use, there's going to be these gaps here. That's all normal, so you don't need to freak out. You're not doing anything wrong. So yeah, this looks pretty convincing as well. Of course, if you don't like having the in this specific pose, if you don't like having the rocket booster effect parts, you can technically take them off. Now the problem is, because of the structure, there is going to be that end tip there that's going to be stuck in there so yeah, other than that, you are able to do that as well. But once again, the rocket effect parts really look really nice, especially with those blue flaming effect parts. I would say they are pretty convincing. Alright, so once again, I'll be right back with the second demonstration, which I think will pretty much cover up everything that we need to know. But I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So here we have pretty much all the rest of the effect parts or other gimmicks that we can do here. So let's start one by one. So in order to do the flying pose, instead of you basically rotate this, or you basically put the larger part, back then when it was standing, it was on the back. Now you put it on the front, so now it supports the belly area as well. And then once again, we have those red lumps, which were these parts are now out, and now you can just plug in the wings. It's just pretty much simple as that. Once again, you pull out the feet parts and then replace it with the booster effect part feet, and you're good to go. Now it took me a while to figure out what I was looking at, especially with the arm. So the way how I can explain is that they were trying to go with some kind of motion stop look going on here. So because as far as I know, if I remember correctly, he can only fire once. It's not like he has multiple arms inside there. So this is where he's preparing to fire and then firing at the same time. So it's like trying to give out that motion where he just fired as well. So now technically this should be like a blurry effect part, but once again, I think the more you look at it, the more you'll start to understand that. Now, despite in this pose, there's nothing too much changes in terms of articulation. Now the wings are just static, they don't fold or move at all, so don't try to force that. The feet here with the effect parts going on here, let me just take this part out just because the effect parts, all you do is just replace the lower part as well, so you still have the overall bending movement going on here, and then whoops, yeah, don't do that. And you still have all the pivot joints, although it's not that great in terms of motion, but still you still have the pivot joints as well if you move it slightly as well, and yeah, you're good to go. So yeah, now Baymax is never, he is a very nice looking character. He was never into the whatchamacallit, the hardcore like mecha stuff, like, you know, when in terms of combat, like gunplay and such. So don't expect much in terms of weapons. He never uses weapons. He was never meant to be a combat style robot as well. There was only in the movie there was that one part where he went a little bit rogue because Hero did remove a specific chip from him, which made him very violent. But once again, overall, if you're a big fan of Baymax like me, and if you want to have a toy or some kind of product of him, but once again never got the chance to get one, or you just never liked the ones that existed at the time, I say this is a very, very nice one to pick up, because I am really satisfied with this one as well. That was not a pun intended. I was trying to do, but you get my point. So overall, this was a review of the Baymax model kit made by Pop Mart, or Gong, whichever it is. But once again, Pop Mart is related. If you guys got any questions or requests, leave a comment below. I still have more stuff to buy and build and make reviews out, so please stay tuned. Until then, see you guys next time.